Welcome to Smart English Stories. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more English stories. Hi, I'm Mark, and I want to tell you my story about learning English. When I first heard people speaking English, it felt like they were talking in a secret code. The words sounded strange and confusing, and I couldn't understand anything. I felt lost and alone. But now, I can speak English well. I can talk to friends, read books, and even write sentences. It wasn't easy, but I made it. Let me take you back to the beginning. The first time I heard English was on TV. The characters on the screen were laughing, talking, and having a good time, but I had no idea what they were saying. I wanted to be part of their world, to laugh and talk like them, but I couldn't, and that made me feel left out. In school, English was a subject I struggled with the most. The teacher would write words on the board and say them out loud, but to me, they were just sounds with no meaning. My classmates seemed to understand. They nodded, repeated the words, and even made sentences. But I just sat quietly, hoping the teacher wouldn't call on me. I was scared to speak, afraid I would say something wrong and everyone would laugh. One day, I decided that I wanted to change. I wanted to learn English so I could understand TV shows, talk to my friends, and do well in school. I knew it would be hard, but I was ready to try. The first thing I did was talk to my parents. I told them I wanted to learn English, and they were very supportive. They encouraged me to start with small steps and not to give up. This gave me hope. I started with the alphabet. A, B, C. I practiced each letter, writing them down one by one. At first, my letters were messy. Some were too big, others too small. But I kept practicing, and soon, my letters looked just right. I was proud of my progress. Next, I learned simple words like cat, dog, and apple. These were words I saw every day. I made flashcards with pictures and words, and I looked at them often. Slowly, the words started to make sense. I could see a cat and say cat. I could hold an apple and say apple. It felt good to know these words. Practicing every day was important. Sometimes I was tired or wanted to play instead, but I remembered my goal. I wanted to learn English, so I kept practicing. I started making simple sentences like I am Mark, and this is a book. These sentences were small but meaningful to me because they were my first steps in speaking English. Speaking out loud was scary at first. I was afraid of making mistakes, but I learned that mistakes were okay. They were part of learning. Each mistake taught me something new. Over time, I became less shy and started speaking more. My confidence grew. Reading and listening were also important. I started with children's books that had simple words and pictures. I read the words out loud, repeating them until they sounded right. I also listened to English songs and watched cartoons. Music and cartoons made learning fun, and slowly, I started to understand more. Writing was another challenge. I began with simple sentences like "I like cats" and "Today is sunny." I wrote in a journal every day, paying attention to spelling. Some words were hard to spell, but I practiced and used a dictionary to check my work. Each day, my writing improved. I didn't try to learn everything at once. I focused on one thing at a time, which made learning easier. Each small step added up, and over time, I saw big improvements. I also joined an English club at school. We met every week to talk about different topics and play games in English. The club was fun and helped me practice speaking. I made new friends who were also learning English, and we helped each other. We shared tips and encouraged one another. I even found language partners online. We talked through video calls, helping each other learn our respective languages. It was like having a friend to study with. We practiced speaking and listening, correcting each other's mistakes. This helped me a lot. Whenever I didn't understand something, I asked for help. My teacher, friends, and parents were always willing to help. They explained things to me and gave me tips and resources. Asking for help showed me that I didn't have to learn alone. Learning English changed my life. It opened new doors for me. I could talk to more people, understand more things, and I felt more confident. I was proud of my progress. Now, I want to help others. I want to share my story to inspire you. If you're learning English, know that you can do it. Start small, practice every day, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. Ask for help when you need it. And keep going even when it's hard. You can do it too, just like I did. Understanding articles was another significant milestone in my language learning journey. Articles like "a" and "the" might seem simple, but they play a crucial role in English. For instance, a cat refers to any cat, while the cat specifies a particular cat. Similarly, an apple could be any apple, but the apple indicates a specific one. Mastering these small words helped me construct more precise sentences. To reinforce my learning, I started journaling daily. Each day, I wrote simple sentences about my life, like "Today is sunny" or "I went to school." This routine not only improved my writing skills, but also allowed me to review and solidify the vocabulary I had learned. Writing about my day became a habit that brought me closer to thinking in English. Speaking practice was another critical part of my learning process. Writing sentences was one thing, but saying them out loud was a different challenge altogether. I knew I needed to practice speaking to improve my pronunciation and fluency. I started by talking to myself in my room, repeating the sentences I had written, like "I am Alex" or "This is a book." Hearing the words out loud made me more familiar with their sounds and helped me work on my pronunciation. Although it felt silly at first, I soon realized how valuable this exercise was. Next, I practiced speaking with my friends. They were very supportive and patient, understanding that I was learning. We had simple conversations in English, where they would ask me questions, and I would try to answer in full sentences. For example, they might ask, "How are you?" and I would reply, "I am fine." These short conversations, though simple, were incredibly helpful in building my confidence. My friends also corrected my mistakes gently, which was invaluable. If I said something like, "He is a friend of me," they would kindly correct me, saying, "He is my friend." These corrections helped me learn the correct phrases and use them more fluently over time. I also joined a language exchange group, where people practiced different languages together. Some were learning English, while others were learning my native language. We took turns speaking in each language, giving me the chance to practice English with new people. Initially, this was intimidating, but the friendly and supportive environment made it easier. We played speaking games in the group, which made learning fun. One game involved describing a picture in English, where I would say something like, "There is a cat on the table," or "The boy is playing with a ball." This helped me practice using new vocabulary and forming sentences on the spot. Another game involved role-playing real-life scenarios, like ordering food at a restaurant or asking for directions, which was both practical and enjoyable. Overcoming shyness was one of the biggest challenges I faced in learning to speak English. Initially, I was very shy and afraid of making mistakes. I worried that people would laugh at me or think I was not smart. This fear held me back, but I knew I had to overcome it if I wanted to improve. I started practicing positive self-talk, reminding myself that it's okay to make mistakes, because that's how we learn. This mindset gave me the courage to speak up, even when I was nervous. My friends and family played a significant role in helping me overcome my shyness. They were always supportive and encouraging, never laughing at my mistakes but instead praising my efforts. Their encouragement boosted my confidence and motivated me to keep trying. I also set small, achievable goals for myself, like answering a simple question in English or having a short conversation. These small steps gradually built my confidence, and as I practiced more, my shyness began to fade. I realized that most people were kind and patient, and that speaking English was about communicating and connecting with others, not about being perfect. As I became more comfortable, I started to laugh at my mistakes. If I said something wrong, I would correct myself and laugh, making the learning process more enjoyable. This also showed others that I wasn't afraid to try and fail. Participating in group activities, like discussions and games in my language exchange group, also helped me build confidence. Speaking in a group was less intimidating than speaking one-on-one, and it gave me the chance to learn from others. Eventually, I reached a point where I could speak English with confidence. I was no longer afraid to make mistakes because I understood that they were part of the learning process. I started to enjoy speaking with others and learning from them. If you're shy about speaking English, remember that it's okay to make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes when learning something new. Be kind to yourself, celebrate your progress, and practice regularly. Surround yourself with supportive people who encourage you. Over time, you'll become more confident, just like I did. As my confidence in speaking grew, I also wanted to improve my reading and listening skills. I started with children's books, which were written in simple language and accompanied by colorful pictures. This made them easy to understand and enjoyable to read. The first book one read was about a cat and a mouse. The sentences were short and the words were familiar, like the cat sees the mouse and the mouse runs away. Reading these books gave me a sense of accomplishment and motivated me to keep going. I continued to read more children's books, each with relatable stories and easy-to-follow language. My favorite book was about a little girl who loved to bake cookies. The story was delightful, and the illustrations were charming. Reading these stories not only improved my reading speed, but also my comprehension skills. I learned to understand the main ideas and pick out important details, which I practiced by summarizing the stories in my own words. To make reading even more enjoyable, I joined a book club at school for students learning English. We met once a week to read and discuss books together. We took turns reading aloud, which was a great way to practice pronunciation and fluency. The discussions helped me see different perspectives and think more deeply about the stories. They also gave me the confidence to share my thoughts in English. Listening to English songs was another enjoyable way to improve my language skills. Music made learning fun and helped me practice listening and pronunciation. I started with simple nursery rhymes like Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star and Mary Had a Little Lamb. These songs were easy to understand and sing along with. As I grew more comfortable, I moved on to pop music by artists like Taylor Swift and Ed Sheeran. I found myself humming the melodies throughout the day, which reinforced the words in my mind. To make the most of my listening practice, I looked up the lyrics to the songs. Reading the lyrics while listening helped me understand the words better. I highlighted new vocabulary and phrases, and used apps and websites that provided translations and explanations. Karaoke became one of my favorite activities, as it allowed me to practice pronunciation and timing in a fun way. Watching English cartoons and shows was another effective way to improve my listening skills. Cartoons like Peppa Pig and Dora the Explorer were particularly helpful because they were designed for children and used simple language. The visual context made it easier to understand the dialogue. and watching episodes repeatedly helped reinforce the vocabulary and phrases. I also watched shows with English subtitles, which helped me match the spoken words to their written forms and learn new vocabulary. Through reading, listening, and watching, I not only improved my language skills, but also gained a deeper understanding of different cultural contexts. I learned about holidays, traditions, and everyday life in English-speaking countries, which made the language more relevant and interesting. My journey was challenging at times, but it was also rewarding and filled with moments of joy and discovery. Now, I feel confident in my ability to communicate in English and continue to learn and grow every day.